Despite his aggressive on-stage persona, one of darts' two goats, Michael van Gerwen, has always seemed to get along with most of the players off the hockey and always seems to be a gracious loser, even after some of the biggest finals. But after nearly 2 decades in the professional game, it's bound to be that he's fallen out with some players, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. Hello and welcome back to Darts World. Let's get straight into it by looking at the first of our 4 players. The first player we're going to look at is someone who's not a big name within the sport, but made Michael very, very angry at an event a few years ago. 30 Players Championships were scheduled to be held in 2020, but only 23 took place due to the coronavirus pandemic. The final few events were part of the PDC's Winter Series, and Wales's Jonathan Worsley entered them looking likely to lose his tour card afterwards. During this time, to limit the number of people on site, players sometimes had to mark some games or find someone to mark for them. On one of the days, Worsley spilt a drink down his shirt on the way to the toilet and was forced to quickly change into a rugby shirt and rush to mark a game. Worsley got in trouble for this and apologised. However, he got angry when he saw that the person Van Gerwen got to mark for him was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Worsley asked for clarification on the rules from the tournament director. This should have stayed private, but MVG found out, and there was an exchange of words between the pair on another day, with MVG calling Worsley a rat. Jonathan then went outside to smoke, but Michael continued to argue with him, leading Worsley to push MVG. Michael reported the incident to security. MVG released his own statement, admitting that he called Worsley a rat, both inside and outside, but felt that Worsley should have gone to him first instead of the PDC. Michael said that the push was unacceptable, but that it was dealt with professionally by the security. Worsley was clearly very annoyed and put out a very X-rated post about MVG, saying that he was a crybaby and that the PDC had one rule for him and another rule for others. The Welshman was removed from the final event of the block as a result of the incident. Then, almost exactly a year later, Van Gerwen was drawn against Worsley in the final Players Championship event of 2021, allowing MVG to get some revenge with a 6-1 win in which he averaged 102. Jonathan dropped off the PDC Tour at the end of the 2022 season and since has mainly been seen on the Modus Super Series. Our next player annoyed Michael with his in-game antics and it led to a war of words in the media. Michael won the first and only World Series event of 2021 in Denmark after a memorable final which saw him defeat Fallon Sherrock, who became the first woman to reach a televised PDC final. The next season saw a full World Series calendar return after the COVID break, and the first event was the US Darts Masters, which was held at an awesome venue, the theatre at the iconic Madison Square Garden, for the first time. MVG had won the first ever edition of the US Masters back in 2017, but that was held in a smaller, less prestigious venue in Las Vegas, and he didn't win any of the following editions in Vegas. Fun fact, Michael was awarded with a Ford Mustang worth over $25,000 after that 2017 win. 5 years after that, it was time for MVG's MSG debut, and he was drawn against the fellow Dutch-born player Jules van Dongen, who was now representing the USA. Mighty Mike was the big favourite for the game and got the better start, going 3-0 up. Jules then got his first leg on the board to make it 3-1, and throughout the following few legs, he began to rile up the crowd to gain support, annoying Van Gerwen. Jules eventually managed to take out 65 to make it 5-4. However, MVG then broke through to secure a 6-4 win. Despite the tension, the players shook hands and hugged on the stage and looked okay. However, Van Dongen has said that when they got backstage, Michael was very irritated at how he had whipped up the crowd. He said that during the game, Michael was yelling at the crowd, telling them that Jules was also Dutch. When interviewed by Online Darts following the game, MVG was asked about how Jules used the crowd, and Michael said that he had to do it as he only had 20% of the talent that he has. Responding to the quote, Jules, in a now deleted tweet, compared Michael to an expletive and said that he played with his heart, and whilst he may not have the talent, he was enjoying everything. Later on in the event, Jules was spotted in the crowd, holding up a funny sign, saying that Michael was 1% as good looking as him. Van Dongen even took some photos with the sign with fans. Jules also auctioned off his match-worn shirt from the game with 20% in a reference to MVG's comment, going to Make-A-Wish Netherlands, and the rest going to another charity. Michael responded, saying that in fairness, it was a classy move. Michael was brought to tears when explaining his fallout with the next player. In the early stages of their careers, Van Gerwen was very close with fellow Dutchman Jelle Klaasen. They even appeared together in a cringy segment shown at the 2006 International Darts Open. However, this all changed in 2012 when Klaasen was accused of sending explicit photo messages to a 15-year-old family friend of Van Gerwen. Later in that year, Klaasen was given a fine and ordered to do some community service. Their first televised meeting after this incident came in the quarter-finals of the 2013 European Championships. MVG blanked Klaasen ahead of the game and there was no handshake. Van Gerwen won 10-7 and celebrated right in the face of Klaasen, who clapped to him. There was no handshake after the game either. They've played many times since, but have not shook hands again. In a 2016 Eurotour game, they were packing away their darts in front of each other, but refused to acknowledge each other. In the same year, Klaasen was the second highest ranked Dutch player, and therefore should have been selected to play in the World Cup alongside Michael shortly after that awkward Eurotour game. However, Klaasen's management team released a statement saying that he was unfortunately unavailable for selection for the World Cup due to personal commitments. The Dutchman admitted that he was disappointed, and many fans felt that either Van Gerwen or the PDC pressured Jelle to step down, as it would have caused an issue. A high-profile meeting came at the 2020 World Championship, and they once again ignored each other. After that game, Michael broke down in tears when talking about the history with Jelle in an interview. Our next player polarises fans, but Michael has given a clear opinion of him. At the 2023 World Championship, Michael faced Dimitri Van den Bergh in the semi-final. During the third set, at which point Dimi was 2-0 down, it was clear on the cameras that Michael had part of his foot in the exclusion zone when the Belgian was throwing. At one point, Dimi stepped back towards Michael and looked over at him. The pair exchanged words, and then Dimi shook his head. Michael didn't move his foot. Dimi was clearly angry at something, and he went on to lose 6-0, with MVG averaging 108. In his post-match press conference, MVG was asked if Dimi had accused him of encroaching in the exclusion zone, to which he responded that the claims were not true, and Dimi instead said that he'd been stamping. Whilst that may be true, Michael was clearly in the zone at times, which would have made any stamping more obvious for Dimi. A few months later, Michael was asked which player he really didn't like losing to, and he answered by saying Dimitri because he had him in his pocket. Michael said it wasn't because he didn't like him, just because he was a bit of a weirdo. If you remember any other players Michael's fallen out with, or have any other ideas for a video you want to see, please let me know in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, as currently just 15% of my viewers are, and it would really help the channel out. You can also hit the bell icon if you want to get notified whenever I upload a brand new darts video. Also, leave a thumbs up if you like this style of video.